Hello, this is the LEGO Marvel superhero set called Spider-Man vs. Doc Ock Subway Train Scene. That name is entirely too long. It comes with 393 pieces. I paid $55 US for it. It's 50 euros, 45 pounds UK, or $65 Canadian. I think I'm going to just leave the minifigures attached during most of the review here of the train car itself, and then just take the minifigs off to look at them more closely, because I love how this looks. I love how all of this presents. I feel like this is fun for folks who want something that's good to display, no matter what your age, whether you're an adult collector or a kid who just wants this to look like it's in an action scene when they're not playing with it. I just personally like that. I'm not a big Spider-Man, especially original Sony Cinematic Universe fan myself. Wasn't the biggest Spider-Man 2 fan in particular, and this scene isn't that iconic to me, so I don't have any bias here. I do like trains in general. I do have some bias there, but I just think that this thing is set up pretty nicely. The build, as you would expect, is pretty straightforward. They do mark it as a 9+ set, but I think that it could be targeted lower than that. Interestingly, when you build this, the very first bag number, bag 1, gives you everything on the train from the floor up to the top of the windows here, and then you later add stuff top and bottom both, including the roof sections here. And I don't know, it just goes together really quickly because it does use a lot of windows to take up a lot of the space. It feels actually decently heavy for something that is so empty, so hollow. Even under here, there's a lot of hollow going on down here. This can run on actual tracks. It does have one issue in that these bogies are not able to turn, but they fix that issue. They give you these turntables. So you can swap out a couple of plates there, put these on there, and then these will rotate, which is really nice. That was a really kind thing that they did, a really thoughtful thing that they did to allow that to be just a little bit easier. Obviously, you're not going to motorize it like this, but you can do some customization. You can connect something else to it. You can get a second one of these, and you're not going to be wasting too much money because most of the money is in the car itself. If you just want to double it up and then put a motor in that with a little custom setup, it's just thoughtful. Or at the more common thing that more people will do actually is just push it around existing tracks. Not that many people have Lego train tracks set up, but if you do have it, it's nice to be able to use this thing on it. This does not have couplings that are set up to be useful if you simply buy 2 of this. Now you can custom make a little coupling to go in between there. This has kind of the makings of it, but they don't include the extra pieces needed to put 2 of these together. That's a little bit of a miss, honestly. It's just marketing wise, they easily could have upselled, say, hey, buy 2 of this. They do that with huge sets. Buy 2 and then use just a little section of it, and you can double that part up to make it a little bit taller, a little bit longer, or something like that. Here they didn't do that, and they definitely could have, because it's worthy. And this does look like the source material, as I understand it. I mean, I'm not a scholar on these things. Again, not a huge fan of the movie. Don't hate it. Don't dislike it even. Just haven't watched it a bunch of times or anything. The actual train car used in the movie is not what it appears to be. They actually disguised one, so did a little bit of mixing. But ultimately, this is based on what you see in the movie as it is in the movie, and I think it looks really good. I think it looks pretty accurate, especially for something that's built with Lego and simply. It's not done with a million tiny little pieces. Really easy to get access inside of here. Let me go ahead and take the dock off here. Open those up. It's better for small fingers to get in there. But you see, they've got the sideways facing bench seating, which is literally on the ground. It's plates and tiles directly on top of the main train base piece in the dark gray right here. And then you just have a forward facing seat there and one there, forward or rear facing. It's double ended. So that's where your controller would be. And they don't give you an operator for the train in this, unfortunately, but all of those seats are useful. If I just grab usable, if I just grab a random minifig, you can place it in there and you can find some spots where you can, create space to have 2 of them right here, 2 there, and then you can even put a passenger in one of these spots. So it's useful. And there's the level of the head. So if you look at this from the outside, we've got minifigures in there. Not bad. And then they have all these Technic bricks that are exposed to the outside to allow you to plug things in, including stuff like this that has a Technic axle end and anything bar-like, so you can get the webs on there. You're getting stuck for slowing it down. You got these handholds that can be used like so, which is good and appropriate. It makes it more exciting and interesting to look at. Worst thing about this, if you hate stickers, I'm sorry. If you hate stickers, that's for the broken window. That's a clearback sticker there, clearback sticker there. But the worst thing is this, the color match for that gray. That's supposed to be the same. I think that's supposed to be the same, unless they were going for something different. I don't know. It's just that sticker just doesn't look good to me. And not only is the color match looking odd, but it also has some banding in it. It's not a big deal, but like I said, that's like the worst thing that I see here personally. The webs for Spidey to hold on to have a simple build to the way that they've made them attachable to things with the angled bars out here, or you can leave off the angling pieces if you want them to be straight, and then they can just be held in the hands like that. When I first built most of this Doc Ock up with the arms, it felt absolutely brilliant, because the very first time I did it live on Twitch, the very first time that I just put it into a general rough pose, I wanted him to be in this walking pose, the bipedal pose. I just set it on the ground and it just balanced, which was just such a satisfying feeling. Things that Lego does that involve small legs, and especially with lots of articulation, can be really, really finicky and difficult and annoying to get to just stand, to just have a single usable normal-ish pose. But this one was great until I added that stud right there to represent the laser emitter, and then this over here to represent additional little grabber pincer arm on the, or hand on the inside. And now it's just good. There's a little bit of extra offset there. So without those, like this, this right there, like that is so secure and just easy to find a spot. Look at that, where it just goes flat. It gives you so much, just so much confidence. And then of course, you can angle these things up. This is really good articulation, really useful articulation. It's, again, just not too annoying. And of course, you want to have him just standing legs, on his own legs. So you've got the Exoforce arm that's used right here. And it doesn't take too much to get this to a point where, again, it is able to just simply stand. And that's really, really important to me, to just be able to get to a point where you can put it down and it's there, and then you can go ahead and manipulate other things in the scene, for the sake of play. I think that's important. I think that things should not be too annoying to place into a believable, to keep kind of behind the fourth wall, where things aren't falling over weird, like, okay, now that's not part of the scene. There's no longer action going on here. Like, let's reset, being able to just get right to there, move these things around, change the balance a little bit. And can I find another spot where you can stand? Yeah, just like that. Like, now this is reaching out. I could use the claw one from the other side. I'm not even having to be careful here. Use the claw one from the other side. If I got Spidey over here, bring these back a little bit. Bring this one up so it's getting ready to fire forward. Look, it's standing. That's brilliant. This one's not even on the ground, is it? Is it? It's not. That's so good. That's so good. That's just, I love it. It's absolutely best Doc Ock they've done yet. And it's done with just normal, genuine building techniques and normal pieces. I like that. It's just not finicky. It's not falling apart easily. The bar pieces are captured in there pretty well in most spots. You can, of course, start to pull this apart if you're rough with it, but this clearly was done with a lot of care and a lot of iteration. Here's a closer look at those two minifigures. What do you know? Dual molded legs for a character that needs them. This is increasingly rare these days, but it's good to see. Very good to see. I want to see it more. I'm very glad that they included kind of a Legoification of Tobey Maguire's constipated face that he uses in that scene. I think it's appropriate. They could have made it even more disturbing and weird than that, but I think this is fine. I think they were a little bit kind to the actor there. And you have the smiling face as an alternate for either of them. Pretty decent prints around the back. Yeah, the skin tone there honestly isn't that bad. It's not an exact match, but it's far enough away. There's not a whole lot of it there. I think it works out pretty good. I think the production here is fine. And then for extra credit, they do include the mask version as a separate head in this set. That is good. That is what they should do. That is what they have done. I don't give them any extra credit for it. I just thank them for doing their job correctly. Both of these should have been included. They're here. Perfect. And then here, of course, we have Aunt May and J. Jonah Jameson, who's not too impressed. Now, here is where they didn't do their job. They needed to include the alternate face of the laugh meme. They needed to include that, even though it's not from this scene, obviously. Still, to have that character, a nearly perfect character, both the way that it was portrayed in the movie and as a Legoification here is this minifigure, but to not include the meme scene face as well. Come on, Lego. You could have done that. It wouldn't have cost that much more. No, I'm being facetious a little bit there. I just really, really want that face to go with this one. Alternate face here. No scared face for Aunt May though. That's odd, right? For hanging out a train. Yeah, I don't know about that. And then the printing here, a little bit lacking opacity. That's supposed to be white. Same thing here. A little bit lacking. Could have been just a little bit better, but all in all, relatively small details doesn't detract from the figures on the whole. These are the only leftover pieces after building all that, and this is what the sticker sheet looked like. Again, clear backed. Honestly, this set at $55 US, 50 euros, 45 pounds UK, or $65 Canadian does not feel overpriced. Am I allowed to say that? I feel guilty saying that. I feel like I shouldn't say that just in case Lego is listening. And they're like, haha, JANG says our prices are good. Shh. Don't quote me on that. But seriously, like looking back historically at Lego prices for a given time, for a given amount of stuff, you're back in the good old days, back when Lego, cynical, nostalgic people say Lego used to be good. They used to care about their fans. They used to do actually good products at good prices. Back in those days, stuff was more expensive than this. For this amount of stuff, go check the tapes. Go look. Now, it's very easy to cherry pick to find the best deal from a given, one specific year. Well, what about this one right here? What about all the other sets? What about the average of all the other sets released that year? Look at the actual data with objectivity, not at one single cherry picked option. Don't look at just the previous depiction of this exact scene. Just look at Lego sets in general through history. Most of the time, they've been more expensive than this for this amount of stuff. So Lego's always been expensive. It still is expensive. I would like it to be cheaper, but relative to all references, this is not bad. This is not bad, especially for 2025 when things are so crazy expensive by default, not even just with Lego. When it comes to like the collector market with the kidulting thing becoming so big and companies being real quick to get as much money as they possibly can from adults who are buying toys for themselves at an increasing rate. I think this landed all right. As far as things to do better, like what could have made this a better deal? Honestly, just a couple of random Citizen minifigures, like a train driver and just a random Citizen minifigure. That's what I would have liked to see out of this. It would have made the whole set feel better. Would have made it feel like the stakes are higher for play. Would have been more interesting on display as well. Just more figures here, and generic even at that. Not even specific named characters. I think would have improved this. And otherwise, I think it's good. I'm happy with so many things here. I did swap out to the turntables just to show you that real quickly in practice, how those actually do work, which is nice. Yeah, see, they even went above and beyond. They did some things that they didn't need to do. And the reason that they had these plates in here that will lock those, the reason they didn't do the turning bogies by default is because it's just a lot easier and simpler for folks who don't have tracks that these need to negotiate. It's simpler and easier to just have them locked. It's a good idea. It's thinking things through well. Overall, I'm happy. Thank you for watching. Hope that this was of value to you. Even if you don't agree with my opinions, at least I hope that I presented it well enough and gave you some things to think about. Bye for now.